It's another edition of Checking In with Hein and Johnny, where the hosts bring in mystery topics that neither host knows anything about until the mics go hot and on the air. We are the show that keeps the host from talking about the weather and World War II 24 hours a day. Hey, Heiny, man, what's on your mind?
It is cold outside. It is
Lots
cold.
of snow. Did you guys get snowed in? Snow days for school?
I think it snowed. It snowed last night.
Nice.
So yeah, it's always snowing. How about you? You get snow out there? And
Tons. Yeah,
wherever you are?
nothing but snow days. Kids
Right.
can't go back to school. They'll be out till March. This will turn from winter break to spring break. It is winter.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, snow days are emotionally different for parents than they are for kids. I definitely remember that. Pray tell me, have you been up to the slopes yet? Do you do a lot of skiing still with Chris?
I've been 3 times so far this
Nice.
year. Brighton, Solitude, and Snowbird.
How was the
other day.
powder?
It's a little sparse. There are plenty of rocks to ding up the bottom of your skis, and I just don't even look for them anymore. I just ski right over them.
Yeah. No worries.
Oh,
You the man. You don't need to worry about rocks. Rocks?
you know, Johnny, I gotta tell you, this morning today I was going through Glam,
Yeah.
and it's like,
I don't even need it.
what are you putting on my face? And I look in the mirror and I am dripping like Elvis on the 68 comeback tour. And what they have applied to my face is this
little beauty.
advanced 9.2 all-in-one snail mucus cream on my face. And it's like, haven't you guys heard of lungworm? Anything? The snails? What, have you got them going through the little chutes and just hacking and coughing? And why don't you just blow your nose here and then keep right on moving into the garlic and butter?
Nice.
And it's like, snail mucus is now the thing you're putting on my face.
I think
to give me this radiant glow.
You look tight and firm like a snail. I know all the good snails are tight and youthful.
Well, their skin is moist. One thing I can say about them is they don't need moisturizer.
What's
I do.
You also have gotten a very tight haircut. Everybody obsess over Heiny's haircut, and today it's nice and tight.
Boom. Also, check out this freshly ironed t-shirt.
Whoa.
This one is the Hillary Smith music legend. Officially unlicensed t-shirt.
Total scam t-shirt. Hillary got nothing. Hillary got no money.
Nothing for the use of her for NIL.
Yeah, her name, nothing. But it's not a bad t-shirt.
Iron's right up. I think good quality. On top, got the attractive guitar and the wings, kind of like maybe ripped off from one of the Journey albums.
I was going to say that was a popular 80s Journey look. But you'll probably find that t-shirt lasts longer than others because they weren't worried about comfort. My most expensive t-shirts all have holes in them, and my really, really cheap ones, they last forever. I still have them from the 90s with no trouble at all. I get these expensive ones from the fancy stores. The whole sleeves all have holes in them. They all have little tears.
I have one that I think came strapped to a Jim Beam bottle. And it was, they pack it into this little thing like this,
You
and I
unfold.
wear it. I wear it for every dirty job I have to do, and it's still, in mint condition.
100%. If you're not worried about comfort, sackcloth is the way to go. They knew what they were talking about in the Bible, baby. Throw some ashes on there. You know what ashes will do to sackcloth? It's like the mucus from a snail. It just moistens that sackcloth up. Nice. Well, so skiing has been delightful. And what's your most memorable tubing experience from your youth or with your kids? Did you do any winter tubing?
Don't have time for that. We did go to, Collarbone Hill, which is what is it, the Mountain Dell golf course up Parley's Canyon. Did you ever
And is
go
that
there, Johnny?
named after people breaking their collarbones while they're
Well, that's what
using?
I call it. There was always an injury
Yeah.
coming home from that.
Yeah, as an adult, when you use the inner tubes, you go up, and when you go down, man, you lose a spleen. I mean it. I mean, every time I've ever gone, it's just like got hit by the office linebacker.
Since this is a dude show and we focus on pain and
Dude,
suffering and injuries and dude stuff, which girls don't like to hear about, did you ever go to the classic roller rink down on State Street?
I did. Yeah, several
Did we already
times.
did we already tell this story?
No.
So when I don't know, I was in the fifth grade or whatever it was, and it was John Mayer's birthday party. If you remember John Myers,
I do. Big
God
event.
rest his soul, he is no longer with us. And so we're at his birthday party, and I'm out happily, like cruising the walls looking for snowball partners from Murray. And John Myers falls down, and Ski Shields pops him right in the head with his roller skate. So there's blood squirting, and quickly the people come out and mop it up, and they take John off, and he's the birthday boy, and he heads off to the hospital to get stitched up. So away he goes. And a little while later, Glenn Hessel falls down from the same birthday party, and he breaks his wrist. So he's off to the emergency room.
And you're loving it because now you're down a few men, so the snowball skates better.
Oh, no, just more cake at the birthday party. It's like, hey, I think there's a couple of extra pieces of cake here for us lucky survivors.
I love it. That is so great. We
It
had
was, I think that he's like, God, really, that was his birthday party.
yeah,
Nice.
it's a contact sport. I don't how would they be able to afford the insurance from all the lawsuits if you had a roller rink today?
Yeah, just during the hokey pokey.
Yeah.
Now, sadly, the roller rink and bowling alleys have been replaced with some high density housing, but the sign is still there.
It's a metaphor for all of human existence. Anything
All of
fun
Utah, anyway.
eventually goes away because we need folks being able to live.
Pack them in like we're in Bangalore.
Yeah, those delightful housing for multi-families. Speaking of the snowball dance, an interesting and terrible events that have occurred in the world. Nowadays, if you have a ladies' night, getting folks to the snowball skating dances has been forever difficult for bars and restaurants. So they always have lady nights, half price drinks, specials. Well, now in California, all the dudes have sued these bars and restaurants for discrimination. So now they are all getting put out of business because they're winning the lawsuits, and so now you can't even
Johnny,
have ladies'
how,
nights.
how do you know those are dudes? Are you
Not that there's
qualified to
anything wrong with it.
identify? Are you qualified for that?
I am not a doctor, but I played one on TV. Uh, yeah, so I mean, I feel a little bad for all of us lonely, no longer the two of us, but on some weekends you needed a good ladies' night to get some trapped prey. It's like those hunts that you did in Texas. You need some trapped prey at the corn feeder to just walk up and attack.
And Johnny, now when I go out cruising, you know what my power bait is? Snail mucus.
Well, they
I
know if
just
you
walk in and I say, drink it in. It always goes down smooth.
soak it in, ladies. Yeah, if you've got the money for snail mucus, they know you have good health care. That everybody knows that. I
So
love
Johnny,
that.
did you see the new movie, The Heretic?
I've not. Oh boy, about the lady missionaries, the Mormon missionaries. No, did you see it?
Uh, y- yes, as a matter of fact, I did. And it stars Chloe East. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she is the cutest little thing that has ever walked out of the MTC.
The Provo MTC has her photo up on the wall.
And the premise of the film is these two girls go out to do some home teaching, and they've been summoned to the home of I believe it's Hugh Grant.
He is gorgeous. Those baby eyes. Ooh, I can
Right, so
drink him in.
He meets them at the door, and I think he says, "I bid you welcome, baby."
Oh, that's
And so
nice.
these girls go into his home, and they're supposed to, the wife's supposed to be there, so they're fussing around trying to look for the wife, and he starts into all of this highbrow religious talk about how because he's the heretic, he says, well, look, your religion is just a copy of these religions that happened before, and look here, back in ancient Egypt there was this dude, and he uh, turned water into wine and walked on water and rose from the dead. And then before him, there were these Babylonians. Da, 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 da. And then he goes into this whole thing. He starts playing the Hollies. All I need is the air that I breathe. And then he
Great
starts
song.
saying, yeah, but it was copied. The Creep song, I'm a creep. They sued and they got money for that because they were ripping off the Hollies, and then somebody else was ripping off Creep. And then it's like he lures the girls down into this dungeon through some plot of whatever it is. But he never really touches on the fact that all horror movies seem to have the same plot. There are innocent damsels in distress. There's an evil baron who's attractive yet seductively dangerous. And I don't want to be a spoiler alert, but it all ends with a stake through the heart. And
That's
he never really
weird.
touches on the fact that just in case you're wondering, that's what happens.
Spoiler, it's a little like a Hallmark movie. They they don't need to write the plot out. It's already pre-written.
Yes,
Oh,
Hugh Grant standing in for Bela Lugosi.
yes, yes. We know that Hallmark movies and all of the murder slasher movies, you got to have the same ending. But there's always like series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So even though they always get killed, they'll be back, baby.
So
I'll be back.
hopefully, Chloe East will be back as Buffy the Heretic Killer.
Yeah, she probably will not. She'll probably not be signing up for that one for a very long time. Jamie Lee Curtis took those Halloween movies way back in the day, but got way too famous to be in them until she got our age, and now she signs up for every one of them. She loves the horror movies, but for a while there, she had a little too much cash for her snail mucus. You're glowing, so the snail mucus was the right way to go. Now, do you feel tighter? Do you feel tight like a toiga? Speaking of Mike Myers,
Beat me to that. Yeah, I do.
nice.
I do. And that's it works well in other areas too.
Oh, it's like Mando deodorant. I can put it down there.
Oh, I just apply it on my hairy palms.
Oh, all right. So you know me because I'm super cheap. I won't go buy the $78 bottle. I'll start farming snails and just sleep with them as they drool all over my face to tighten my look up. That's always. Speaking of home pets, did you ever have a a terrible pet or lose a deposit on a condo or a rental at any part of your life?
I've always owned, so my dogs can just pee wherever they want. They
Nice.
easily do and sleep wherever I want, and come up and cuddle with me, no matter
Nice.
how large and stinky they were or are.
We got there was an ad for a bulldog. We always wanted a bulldog, so we got conned because when we got there, it was a bunch of pit bull puppies, and we know that the ad shouldn't say bulldogs. It should say pit bulls, American pit bulls, but they are adorable puppies. The runt of the litter had all of the skin was really wrinkly, so it looked like a Shar-Pei. Allison could not believe how cute it was. We took it home, and this dog was a terror. Oh my goodness. I mean, everybody talks about how delightful pit bulls are. I mean, all I see is people talking about how cruel we all are to pit bulls. This little puppy pulled up carpet in every single room of our apartment. And speaking of our favorite topic, poop, everywhere for every minute of every day. We destroyed this poor apartment. I think it was on 33rd South. We finally had to take the puppy back and said, "Keep our money. This is your dog. This thing should be named Damien because it is spawn of hellfire." We just had to take it back because the place reeked all the time, and there were holes in every corner of the house. It just chewed up all the carpeting. So we did not have a great experience with the pit bull. I worked with a vet, and he said, "Oh, what puppy did you get?" I said, "A pit bull." He goes, "Oh no, don't buy that puppy." I'm like, "Really?" And he was right. We were the dumb ones. Hey, you are debuting a new microphone. I feel. Ooh.
I feel like Don Imus.
You should. You should feel like Imus and Casey. Keep your feet on the ground. How do you like the
Reaching for
mic?
the stars.
This is big.
I must say it was easy to install.
Easy install. You just
I was a
plugged
little
it in.
concerned that there was going to be an extensive installation and fire up process. But the fine folks at HyperX SoloCast just plug it in and it works. And so,
Plug and
I
play.
don't know how the quality is out there in TV land. It's probably better than some of those shows we were doing when it sounded like we were in Hugh Grant's dungeon.
Yeah, we had an echo chamber. Now we all have these fancy mics. We're gonna actually pretend like we're a podcast. I don't know how I feel about that. We feel like a legit thing. So, to whom do we owe the big thank you for your new microphone? Did you buy it?
Are you kidding? I'd like to thank Connor Morrison.
Yay, Connor!
He was the one who said we needed. Well, yes, he's the one who said he upped our game with the microphone. He was tired of looking at me, working off the Delta Airlines headphones.
When you get free headphones on a flight, he felt it was a little abusive that we worked on them on a podcast.
Yes, this is, or there was too much spit or popping. He really doesn't like when I do this.
That's my favorite part. My favorite two parts of the podcast, I'd say we've been doing it about 6 months. My two favorite parts are when Lucy and Desi are upstairs vacuuming while we're doing it. That's tied for number one. The tied for number one is when you do the oyster story at the hanging Christmas tree and you do this. And I am not alone. People love it when you pop your lips in reference to oyster mucus. They love it. So Connor is perfect for us because he ups your technology game, but he has no taste. We love the popping.
If you make annoying noises, do more people listen or less?
I don't know. Annoying thing. Speaking of annoying stuff, there are many celebrities that are on camera saying they will not eat leftovers. Kim Kardashian, Gwyneth Paltrow. Are you offended by leftovers after Thanksgiving? Will you not eat a week of turkey and giblets and gravy? Are you a non-leftover guy?
No, I eat stuff that in my world, that stuff is just aging to perfection.
Nice.
So I am the one who is, people are looking through the refrigerator to throw away something that maybe they put in and forgot about, and they can't find it because, well, I ate it. And a spokesman for how long can this item last in the refrigerator and still not give you explosive diarrhea?
Well, my mom would hold things until it had grown into a planetarium of its own. No one in my family was happy about all the little Tupperwares and dishes full of Petri dishes trying to cure the common cold. Gerda was not good at throwing out. She's good at saving.
It's always tough when you're going in there and you find the little package, and in it is a fine spawn of mold and 3 capers that were being saved. Well, I might use these on my next fish dish.
You could just scrape off the tiny white trees. Just scrape them off. There is absolutely no worries in there.
I read during World War II, the German submarines would go out for 45 days, and they would pack the hulls of those things with, big loaves of pumpernickel and rye.
Not
And
bad.
during, it was so humid down in a submarine for 45 days that the mold would grow to be 2.5 inches thick. And as
Ooh.
described, taste like fresh lettuce.
Is that real? Right? Is that right? I mean, they would still eat. They'd have to eat it. There's nothing else to eat.
Somebody, well, you're bored on the sub. There's nothing to eat. Probably not a lot of fresh fruit, but hey, this mold is just delicious.
This mold. Oh, I love a good pumpernickel, but I'm not sure I could go with it 90 days after baking.
It's when your sandwich has the lettuce on the outside.
Oh, man alive.
I love those, strange stories from the annals of time.
I like anything with the word anals in it. I'll sign up for that. What what were the sailors doing for bathing in the submarine, Henry? Any strange stories about it was just a sponge or sandpaper or what was it?
I don't know. I just read the captions under the photos, not the whole book.
The picture books from World War II. I understand that.
Yes, I will. Probably seawater baths in the torpedo tubes.
Yeah, come up. That was the U-boats, right? That were decimating the Navy.
Yes.
That was that movie about it was great. U-251 or something like that was a great movie.
No, Das Boot. That was a great movie.
That was great. Yeah,
Das Boot.
Really good movie. Have you had a particular location that you've lived that had great water pressure? Do you have great water pressure in Hein del Home now? Is it perfect water pressure?
Except for that toilet that I call the lazy river.
Remind me of the vacation donut that you float
just
around on.
praying it all goes away. It's my children who live a much higher lifestyle than I do. They have those like compressed air turbo. Just
Not
like
a
they had
fan
on
of
the
those.
German submarines.
Yeah, I don't like those. Why do they have? Is that great to have that? I don't like it.
Oh no, I love it. There's no question it's going away. It's like probably blasting over to the neighbor's house.
It's up on their roof. It gets launched through the air tube and floats over onto the neighbor's back deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just so. Plumbing is always kind of an issue, especially here in this house. I've got a sink right down there that barely works. I don't know what the thing about a wet bar is, but I have a wet bar from 1960, and okay,
Still wet from 60.
all it has a lot of wasted space back there in the modern world. It has a big hole for your ice bucket. So you just drop your ice bucket right in the bar. It's right there.
Everybody needs it.
And I never use that because the ice bucket that's in there is kind of got 2 inches of mold growing in it.
Yeah.
And then it has a sink so that you can wash your own glasses right here at the bar, which I also never use. What I want is like a refrigerator back there.
That's what you want.
Think about that, because you've got to go across the house to get an ice cube or a cold beverage of your choice. I want it right here.
Yeah, we got tricked into 2 different ice cubes for the 2 viewers that watch all the time. At Christmas time, we love soft crushable ice, so we bought an ice maker, and it's kind of didn't work for a couple of days, so we didn't want to be out for ice right by our drinks, so we got another one, and then the first one started working again. So I have 2 tabletop ice makers. So I literally have 3 ice makers in my house because we like ice everywhere. We got tricked into the second one, though.
Johnny, you haven't fallen into the pit of the dirty sodas, have you?
No, but I'm very fascinated by how popular it is. It's a big people will have it on. The viewers are high on dirty sodas. How about you? Have you fallen into that fad?
I have been to the well, and when I start putting Coffee Mate in my cranberry fresca, I really start to wonder. But in the end, it's like, I'm drinking it. I'm
Whatever
drinking the
floats.
Kool-Aid with whatever I just put in.
I'm all for weird. The only weird drink we've talked about before that I have is Coke with some ginger ale and lime is quite delightful. I learned that from the all-in-one. I've seen these really fancy locations have a Coke machine that has like 50 bags of options. So it has like 1,000 different combinations and different things you can squirt in it. Well, that had an option on it for Coke and Seagram's ginger ale and lime, and I'm like, that doesn't sound too bad. I
I'm
went for
always
that.
kind of hoping for the right after I put in the Sprite, heading right over to the Seagram 7, and then a maraschino cherry that goes in.
That's a
But I haven't been to that. Well, I have been to that dirty bar.
You've been there. You've been there many. That's very popular. That's an old classic.
The dirty
Um,
bar.
so I believe that is a fad that will not go away. I yeah,
Certainly not here in the land of Zion. There
yeah,
is a one on every corner.
yeah. It's not here, but it will branch out from Salt Lake because
Yeah, it's right there. It's right there next to the kamutz flour or whatever that stuff is, kombucha flour. That's the new pure flour that they really.
tell us more about it. Is it healthy or not white or
You
what
know,
are you
it's
talking about?
not milled. I don't know. It's the new rage instead of like bleached flour. It's not processed as much, and
Do they squeeze it through the anal orifices of snails? Is that what they do? They feed it to snails and they squeeze it out of the mucus?
they might be feeding it to the snails before they put them in the garlic butter. That
So,
could be.
uh, for folks that are under 8 years old who think that's disgusting to eat snails are delicious. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Yeah, if you get somebody that really knows what they're doing, holy smokes, they are a fine dining at its best. I love them.
Right. But I just want to make sure that my snail mucus cream has been to a full 160 degrees before it's served.
Garlic, garlic and snail mucus does wonders. Now, have you always been an aficionado for the skin tightening products? I mean, is that something that's right up your alley?
No, this all started, when we started doing the show, and then, immediately I had to get some makeup people on board, and they're the
Glam.
ones who are making sure that, you can't see all the Mohs scars from.
What are, what are you talking about? I never know what you're talking about because you're so much more worldly than me. What's a Mohs scars? What are you talking about?
You haven't had the end of your nose cut off to remove the skin cancer yet.
I have no. I will be going there soon. But so you've had that constantly?
No, just one big one where they took
Nice.
off the end. I mean, I looked like Porky Pig with just got smacked in the face.
Really?
They send you home for like two days just with a Band-Aid on it. Oh, come back and we'll do the plastic surgery. That's if my brother-in-law said, you would have just come right over to my place right after, and I would have taken care of it. You wouldn't be waiting 2 days with this open
Gaping.
wound.
Well,
But yeah,
and
oh yeah, that's in our demographic, and many of our listeners, I'm sure, will attest to the joy of having some basal skin cells taken off. Mine actually was full-blown melanoma.
ooh,
Yeah,
that
I
Bob
just had a
Marley died of that, brother.
little tiny brown spot, and I didn't think it was a big deal, and it had been there for a couple of years. And then some people said, "You better go get that looked at." Pronto.
And when was this? Was this 5 years ago?
No, it was in March. In March, it's just the end of my nose.
Man, and it's because we don't have enough melanin in our skin, and you were out skiing too often, and too many sunburns or
It was
something.
too much time too much fun in the sun, which
Yeah.
it's great until it kills you. But yeah, I'm sure we used to go skiing. I'd come home, my face was just
Oh,
crispy.
yeah,
And then sports car drives and just getting, tanned to the max.
saw sun all day, all summer and
Yeah,
winter.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my children say, my children were saying, Dad, it's more important to apply snail mucus sunscreen than it is to brush your teeth.
They're right there. See,
Right.
Connor knew about the mic. He knew about the basal cell carcinoma.
Yeah, so they are just staying fair and probably, and apply sunscreen every day, every minute when first thing they wake up is drench in it. And, I've known people that didn't go get it, or, somehow it got through and didn't end well. So,
I'm glad you did. Do you realize the world would be without Heine if you hadn't got that looked at? It would have eaten your face away. You would have looked like that Oriental guy at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's who would have been doing the podcast. We would have had to go to a non-video podcast.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and that it had been there, I don't know. But go get checked. I know people who, fortunately, I have the statistics are in favor of you living longer if you're married. And I can only thank Chris for keeping an eye on me, because otherwise I'd probably never go to the doctor. This stuff would grow to enormous proportions. And that, and the racing, to maintain a racing license, you have to go in and now get a physical examination every year. So that kind of keeps me popping into the doctor.
Yeah, you have mentioned many times on the pod that you're having checkups constantly for the health.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing.
I think they're just mostly trying to figure out if I've gone insane or not.
Well,
and if I can see.
You're to make sure that you are using the proper prescribed glasses at all times. Speaking of Bob Marley, have you seen any dead bodies in your life? Has that popped up in your life?
Oh, yeah.
Out in the wild?
Driving down life's highway.
Do tell, Heine. This is a great story. What is this? Pray tell.
Well, one day I am driving I-25 north at mile marker 120 north of El Paso, and there is a Subaru parked by the side of the road, and I pass by, and it has got the guardrail from front end to back end through it like a saber.
Like in the movies.
And so I look and glance at it as I go by, and I got off at the next exit, and I drove back, and I looked across the freeway at this car, and then I went down to a little dirt road and crossed back over and came up and parked by it and was just kind of like, wow, look at what happened. And the driver had driven head on into the guardrail. And I'm looking at the, it's like, well, so they obviously just left this car here because they're going to have to come back and get it. And I am examining the car, and in my horror, I see that out of the wreckage is the gas line, and the gas line is just bloop, bloop,
Oh,
bloop,
man.
dripping out a little fuel. And I said, oh, this just happened.
Yeah, they didn't leave.
And so the car has impacted the guardrail straight on. So the guardrail just kind of goes right through the car.
Man.
It hung up on the firewall, and it took the entire firewall and dashboard through to the back of the car. So the car stopped in the length of the car, and the little air conditioning vent on the passenger side was poking out of the trunk.
That is crazy.
The windshield's gone, the hood is just gone.
Yeah.
And so I am the driver's side is obscured by the guardrail, and I can't see into it. And so I peep up over, and there was the driver, who the seat had just rolled back, and his head had moved a little further than you like to see it.
Oh, man.
And he did not suffer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I called 911 on my brick. I had the big phone.
Nice. The Tandy Radio Shack.
Yeah, and so I called 911, and they said, "Yeah, why don't you poke around in the bushes and see if there's anybody else there?"
Oh, because they just assumed it probably involved someone thrown.
Someone else could have just.
Yeah.
And so I looked around. I couldn't find anybody. But then after some period of time, his dog emerged into the back seat. So his dog was obviously in the back seat, must have fallen down on the passenger's floor
Safely.
or into the back floor, or protected by the seats while all this stuff went over him. And his paw, I did not see the dog. I don't know what, and it was, and people are just, that's like finally another guy stopped. And then, yeah, it was brutal. So
Wow.
How about
Your
you?
New Year's fun.
How about you?
No. I listen. I only asked because I know you've had life experience way beyond mine. I've lived my life in a bubble.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I think you kind of get, after you see this, you've seen enough car wrecks and stuff that I get kind of callous about it.
Yeah, you've
which
expecting
is
the worst. Yeah.
Worrisome. It's, but it is. I don't know what I would have done. It took, if he was still alive.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to help him, and I've been to the scenes where the guys are,
They're holding on.
Pinned in the car, and I was like, ugh.
Takes a long time for people to get there to save them.
It does. It takes, well, and that if I would have said, hey, I need help fast, this, we need somebody here. But I went over, it's like, I think he is not here.
Not needed.
Not with us anymore. So
no speed needed. Well, you're a superhero as Henry.
No, not really.
Oh,
but just there.
You stopped with your non-melanoma nose, and you did the right thing. By golly. Speaking of exciting, incredibly eventful parts of Henry's life, here's a little teaser. We have got some delightful Valentine week fun for all of our 3 viewers. View us in a few weeks, our Valentine special. Henry will talk about his brush with death with multiple shark encounters. It's just a tease. Hey, you guys. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Checking In with Hein and Johnny. You can follow all things Hein and Johnny by subscribing to Checking In with Hein and Johnny anywhere you listen to podcasts. Checking In with Hein and Johnny is sponsored by Conveyors and Equipment. They supply, design, and service all types of conveyors, belting, and material handling equipment since 1972. With 3 locations to serve you, Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, and El Paso. Find them on the web at conveyequip.com. That's CONVEYEQUIP.com.